Disability has been something society has tried to hide away and shame for thousands of years, which has been diminished, few by many. Nowadays, however, society is trying to improve people's opinion about disability people, as more and more people realize that no matter how different disability people seem, they are in effect as unique and special as any one of us and deserve to be treated with respect. In ancient Roma, Egyptian and Greek times, people with disability were either thought to be gifted by the god or cursed by the gods. In effect, there are instances where even the gods themselves were disability. For example, Hypstis, an Greek god, also known as a falcon by the Romans, was lame because his father Caesar, the Greek, and Jupiter, as the Romans knew him, threw him off the side of Olympus because he was upset that he looked so ugly. However, there was an Egyptian god, Peace, who was very highly respected because it was his job to scare of evil spirits as a child was being born, then to look after them after they were born. So even back then people were tried either possibility or negatively. Three articles show three positive ways that society is now tried disability people. In the first article, from the Queensland time, titled Iron Man Helps Kingles Shine, an intelligent disability boy had signed up to be one of the first kids in Queensland with intellectual disability to complete an center with a box kids triathlon. The triathlon is all about participation and give it a go. Mr. Guy Lish and Arman Lignant and Bobby, healthcare ambassador, say in the article, Kingles was very confident with his change and his triathlon. But Mr. Lish signed up to Kingles last trying season to make sure that young boy was ready for the triathlon, and it showed support to second article from 2009 on Dubai, titled UAE to administer a vocation test to help developmentally disability people find job. The Ministry of Social Affairs has found a way for disability people both physically and mentally to find job that they are interested in doing and are capable of doing by showing them picture of things they're interested in. The final article, also from Dubai, entered a new device distribute to help special needs people, which is development technology that allows disability people to use the internet. This article shows how disability people are slowly being included into society instead of being on the outskirts of it, continuing to their own subculture. This article shows us that disabled being identified as disabled, they are still have as much in common with everyone else. They still have dreams they want to achieve, but they just have to go about achieving this dream in different ways. With that, we are only just open up to them. This just going to show that the identity disabled people have label on them is always shifting just as it does with the rest of us.
Hey Brooke, there's information that you wanted about ancient Egyptians.
Thanks.
Hey, so what's it for if you don't mind me asking? I thought your class was doing something with convicts and your soc.
We were, however, we got a little bit ahead of ourselves, so I needed something to fill the gap.
And you decided with ancient Egypt?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I thought I'd combine two things in one.
And these two things are exactly what?
Well, my class has been asking me about Egypt, so I figured I'd give them a crash course on it. And also, I was reading an article in the QT about a disabled boy who signed up to do a triathlon, and I figured I'd show my class different ways that people with disabilities have been treated in the past.
And because of the fact that ancient Egyptian families were disabled, you can explain how they were treated? I'm pretty sure they had some sort of ruling and something that you had to follow when, like, how they were treated?
Yeah, they had a lot of moral writings and teachings about respect for people with disabilities. The three I know of are beware of robbing a wrench or attacking a cripple, do not laugh at a blind man nor tease a dwarf, nor cause hardship for the lame, and thirdly, do not tease the man who is in the head of God, so it's like ill or insane. They had a dwarf god called Bess who would dance around the room at childbirth to scare away the evil spirits. And once the child was born, he would keep the child entertained. Because of this, dwarfs are really well regarded in ancient Egypt, and it was commonly believed people with mental, physical disabilities wouldn't fit in with that community, so they were raised above it, because they were thought of to be the hand of God, the eye of God. They were raised into a subculture of their own.
It's interesting to see how much thoughts on disability have changed throughout the years. I mean, back then it was something that was very accepted and very raised upon, even worshipped. Then just about 50 years ago, it was something that was kept really hidden and just thrown away, and now it's slowly coming back and being more accepted in society.
I know, that's what I want to show my students, that thoughts on everything have been changing for thousands of years. Just because we think a certain way now doesn't mean it's right. The way we negatively identify disabled people as disabled can be turned the other way into a positive.
That's a good idea, but how are you exactly going to plan to do that? I mean, it's year 4.
Well, ancient Egypt was a stepping stone for every society, empire, whatever you want to call it. It's the most influential one that I know of. Even the Roman Empire and the Greek Empire saw Egypt's worth. So everything I want to talk about, I can link back to Egypt so they can understand.
So to start off, you're going to start with some sort of quick overview about the ancient Egyptian royal family and how they apparently were disabled and gifted per se with the gods, but they were factually really plagued by mental and physical illnesses per se, though this was during the years of control and reign.
Yeah. Well, and then I mentioned King Tut. He is, like, I believe, the most likely known pharaoh, disabled pharaoh. Too, as far as I can tell, it was a physical one, not a mental one. From the drawings and articles I found, I believe it was clubfoot, but the only thing I really know for sure was that he was forced to walk with a cane. I'll start off with him and then talk about Alexander the Great and Cleopatra and Julius Caesar.
Why Alexander, Cleopatra and Julius Caesar?
Well, Alexander saw the power of Egypt, and in fact Alexandria, Egypt's capital, was named after him because he was the one to order the city to be built, I believe, and they wanted to honour him. He was rumoured to have epilepsy, but there was never any solid proof about this because of how long ago it was. And he was sort of a god, and I assume that would be one of the reasons. Julius Caesar was also rumoured to have epilepsy, as well as his and Cleopatra's son Caesarion was rumoured to have epilepsy as well. Cleopatra played on Caesar's desire to explain Rome using Egyptian riches. She played on the fact that he looked up to Alexander because Caesar hid his epilepsy so he could fit in with society. He didn't want power like Alexander did, not at the beginning anyway.
What else would you include in your lesson? Surely there's more that you could add in.
There is. Well, I'll talk about the rules they had about people with disabilities, how they were identified by people in their society as gifted by the gods.
So to show them that disabled people were treated with a lot of respect.
Yeah, and then I thought I might mention other people who have disabilities that were wrote off as something caused by the god. There was a Greek princess Cassandra, who was the sister of Paris and Hector, and who was thought to be insane because of the curse poured on her by Apollo. She was hidden away because she embarrassed her family and her parents every time she was let out in the public eye.
I didn't know about that. Where else did you hear that?
My teacher actually told me the story in year 11 because I was interested in Rome and Greek and Egypt.
Well, if you're showing different ways in how people were seen with disabilities and were treated, why not mention King George III?
Why King George III?
Well, I believe it was commonly rumoured and commonly thought that he had a mental illness late into his reign. I believe he had his first attack, in 1788, and around 1810 he was believed to be called unfit to rule, and his son, George, Prince of Wales, became the regent in 1811, and he continued to be that until around 1820 when his father had finally passed away.
I didn't know that. It's interesting seeing how society has included disabled people. They were never really allowed to just fit in with everyone else. They always belonged to some subculture, whether or not they really belonged there.
Well, history shows us where we've definitely gone wrong.
True. Anyway, I'm sure my class will love all this. They've been doing all things Egyptian at their insistence, of course. Thanks for finding the information.
No
for
worries,
me.
Brooke. Have a good